Hi friends, welcome back. Just kind of chilling today. Sorry, I'm just a little wrinkled. I got on my comfy, cozy sweater. It's cold here, and I'm just kind of having a relaxing working day. Still working, but more of a comfy kind of a day here. Got on my little flip flops and my warm socks, and I'm just enjoying my day. So, I wanted to come and talk about. I'm going to remove my Rudrishka beads. We'll talk about those later. But I wanted to come and talk about the pillars to creating a happy life. So many of us are on this journey, and we don't really understand the reason why we're here. We have no concept of the meaning of life. And I did a video about that. I'm going to be doing more. I'm going to just keep talking about the spiritual process, and we'll talk about manifestation. We'll talk about how you get money and how you get relationships. We're going to talk about all of that. But I never want you to lose sight of the reason why you are here. This is a spiritual process. What it means to be a human being is actually a spiritual process. You are spirit. You are not human. You are spirit, and you have a body and you have a mind, but you are spirit first. You are a soul first. And I never want us to lose track of that. So, happiness. It eludes many of us because we don't understand the meaning of life. And the meaning of life is about our growth and development. And the reason for that is because we are a part of all that is. I could go into a real philosophical diatribe about that and explaining all that, but I don't really think it matters. Just know that there was something larger than you that is going on, and you're a part of it, a very big part of it. And I think a lot of stuff beyond that is not really necessary to know for you to have a good life unless you really want to know it. Now, I wanted to know it. And if y'all want to know it, put something in the comments down below and we can kind of go into a lot of that stuff. But I think that most people that come here, that follow me in other places, they're really just looking for a way to manage their humanness. And I have some tips and tools for that. So I'm going to try to stick to that instead of going on this existential thing about the explanation of who God is and what all of this means. There is an explanation for it, but I don't know that it's really, really necessary for people to live a happy life. You have to respect it, but I don't know that it's necessary for you to understand the ins and outs of it. I think that if it were necessary, we would probably come here knowing it. So let me summarize all of that by saying this. You are a soul and a spirit having a human experience, and there is a much, much larger reason for that. And if it just looks like for you, as long as you're growing and developing and becoming more and shedding dysfunction and getting rid of what no longer serves you and moving towards the highest ideal as a human being, you're good. That's all you need to know. If you want to know more, there's a whole lot more to know. So back to happiness. It eludes us, one, because we don't have that simple understanding. There's more to it. You ain't got to know all of it. The simple process, you're here to grow. Things are showing up in your experience for a lot of reasons, but the main reason is so that you can grow and become more and move beyond those particular situations. Once we understand that, and we understand that life is not specifically just for our comfort and pleasure, although it is supposed to be very good, you're still a human being. This is still life. Things are going to happen. Once you shift your focus from that from the understanding that life is for my comfort only and for my enjoyment only, and nothing is supposed to happen bad. Once you shift your focus from that particular viewpoint to a viewpoint of life is really about my growth and development, you're going to find that you're one step closer to happiness. So, spiritual understanding and consciousness are some of the ways to move more towards happiness. But here's another key piece to that. I tell people that there are 3 pillars to creating a happy life. One is a great marriage or relationship. The second one is your career and doing work you love. And the final piece is your health. If you master those 3 areas, you're going to find life is pretty much a piece of cake for you. Just about everything else around that, you're going to be able to handle. And so many of us are getting one, if not 3 of those things wrong. And I really do believe that that is why so many of us are so miserable. For me, I was mismatched for my career for 20 years, and it just filled me with a sense of dread. And then I had a health crisis. So, I came out of the gate not on a very good foot. And so I've worked really hard to manage all of that. I found work that I really, really enjoy. My health is not 100%, but it is good. It is much better than it used to be. And the learning process for me was incredibly valuable because I was ill, because I was faced with that particular challenge. It created in me a wealth of knowledge that I would have never had that not happened to me. So I've been able to bless other people with that wisdom and knowledge. I've been able to do certain things in my own life when it comes to aging and managing that process. And had I not gotten sick, I would have never had that piece of knowledge, or I would have never benefited in a way that I did had that not happened, if that makes sense. And so I did another piece on suffering, and one of the takeaways from that particular video was allow the suffering to birth within you the desire for an improved condition. And so that is what happened to me when I got sick. And so now I spend, my days, look at my hair, busted. Sorry, y'all. Doing healthy things and just trying to, make sure I'm my best. And all of that came about simply because I was faced with an illness and I didn't know what to do to get well, and the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. And so I cursed it at first, but we're good. Now I get it. Like I said, this process is about who you are becoming. It is about your expansion, not about what happens to you. And so I did benefit a lot from that particular situation. So I had a couple of things go wrong. My marriage was pretty decent. I mean, we had our problems. I don't think you can be married to a person for a long time and not go through something. I've been with my husband for 30 years. But my marriage was good, but I was failing on, not all 3, but I was failing on 2 of the 3. The health and the career, shot to hell. So I was able to kind of get the career back on track. The health is coming along. Marriage is good. And so I find myself now understanding the spiritual process, having work that I love, being in a great relationship. My husband and I, we work really hard to maintain the sanctity of our marriage and to grow in that particular area. And like I said, my health is coming along quite well. I think that the final step for me when COVID is over is that I need to push more into veganism. I think that is my last missing piece, and I've been a little bit reluctant to do that. And yeah, I think the time is now, and I think the call has been there for a while. So I'm gonna lean more into that. I don't know if I'll be completely vegetarian or vegan, but I'm gonna lean more into that. And I simply haven't done it right now because with COVID, going to the store is becoming a trick of staying alive. And I just really ain't got time to be in there trying to decide that. So as soon as this is over, we're gonna do that. Okay, so let's go back, and I'm gonna give you some tips for managing those three processes. Let's start with career. One of the keys to getting your career matched is self knowledge. And I know that seems odd. You probably thought I was going to say like education, get your degrees and your PhDs and da 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 da. The trick to career satisfaction is knowing in depthly who you are. That means knowing what your gifts are. That means knowing what you like to do. That means knowing what your preferences are. Do you like a lot of coworkers? Do you prefer to work in solitude? Do you like working with clients? Do you see where I'm coming from? And most people are going out to the world and they're interviewing for jobs, and they've never sat down and found out the answers to these questions. What do you value? Do you value a company that serves a community? Do you value a company that's concerned with the environment? These things are important because you get a job in HR at a chemical company where they're dumping toxic waste into waterways, you may find yourself having a little bit of a conflict. And as human beings, people that I've worked with, we just simply aren't doing that. We aren't asking ourselves the question. You know, some people love to work. I'm one of those people. I could work all day long if, I didn't have anything else to do. If I didn't have to take care of my husband and clean and do other things. I mean, I could hit it from early in the morning till the wee hours. But not everybody has that makeup. And even with me, it's not the smartest thing to do, but it's just something that I like. I don't mind doing that. And because I work from home, I always have access to be able to work. Someone else may value family. They may say, hey, when I get off at 5 o'clock, I don't want to hear anything about work. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to know who you are. So you don't want to go to a company where the environment is such that they're working around the clock. I'd be fine there. You'd be miserable. These things are so important. Have you figured out what your gifts are, what your talents are? Are you an excellent communicator? Are you good at organization? Are you good at motivating people? Could you lead a team to accomplish a goal? Are you more of a behind the scenes helper? Is that where you shine? When you support and assist? What's important to you? Is health important to you? Would you like working at a physician's office? Or do you not believe that that particular avenue is the pathway to health? Would you be more comfortable working in a health food store or at a supplement company? Like, these things are important. And I always talk about the concept of alignment. I have a podcast called Saturday Morning Chats, and I've gone into much greater detail on a lot of these subjects. You may want to look that up. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Anchor. It's on just wherever you listen, you probably can find it. I've gone into more detail about the concept of alignment, and true happiness does come when you are able to line up your life in a way that suits you, and you can only do that by knowing who and what you really, really are. And so, do that work. Take some time and figure out, this is what I'm good at. This is what I like. This is what my values are. This is what my work habits are. This is what I prefer here. And you just want to keep going down the list. And to the extent that you know that, whenever something shows up that's not what you want, you can say no to that. And you won't find yourself going from one bad job to the next bad job. It's important. Self-knowledge. The next particular area is, I'm going to do health next. We'll save marriage for last. That's a big one for me. Your health. I experienced a health crisis just out of the blue. I was walking through the store one day and I was talking to my mom, and I felt something shift in my body, and I thought, what was that? Just something, I can't even really put it into words. Wasn't a pain or anything like that, but I knew something was gravely wrong. And so over the next several weeks and months, I just spiraled all the way down into something. And I'm going to doctors. No one can figure out what is wrong with me, and I'm terrified. I mean, there were nights that, I could cry just thinking about it. There were nights that I laid down the bed that I didn't think I was going to get up the next morning. But I'm here now. And grateful to God for that. So, if you don't have good health, you can't enjoy life. And so, I tell anybody, don't take it for granted, because that's what I did. I was eating at all the restaurants and doing all the things that I probably shouldn't have been doing, not sleeping, not drinking the water, stressing out really, 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 really bad. I was stressed because of work. And so it finally just caught up to me in a way that was really nondescript. No one could put their finger on it, but I was severely sick. Don't take your health for granted. And I'll do some more videos about what I do, things that you can do just to make sure that you maintain your health. You definitely want to exercise. You definitely want to drink water. You definitely want to take a multivitamin. And you definitely want to make sure that you're eating enough vegetables. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you just do those things, that's all you need to do. You can go further. You can be a quote health nut. The more you lean into it, the more it's gonna serve you. As you give, you get back. So if you give a lot, you're gonna get back a lot. But if you would just do those things, the vitamin, the vegetables, the water, the sleep, it's gonna be enough. It's gonna be enough. The exercise is gonna be enough if you just start right there. You can find victory in the area of health. And so again, we're talking about the 3 things that make for a happy life: career, health. Now let's get to the last one, the relationships. Boy, I see a lot of issue with this particular area. And I'm going to be careful how I say this, because this is a hot button for me. I've been married for 30 years. I see a lot of people making mistakes with the partners that they are choosing. And the signs are always there, ladies especially. A man will show you who he is at the very beginning. Believe him. You're not going to be able to change him. He's not going to fall so in love with you that he just miraculously becomes this other man. No. When he shows you who he is the first time, believe him. You want to look for a man with character. You want to look for a man with standards. And we simply aren't doing enough of that. And consequently, we're getting in with these men, we're finding out that they're cheating or they're abusers or they don't support us. I mean, there's way more forms of abuse than just physical abuse. If you're in a situation with a man that won't support you, won't support your vision, your goals, your dreams, you are going to be miserable. So it behooves us up front to pick the right partner. I'm going to give you another tip to help you do that successfully. Just like with the career, that self-knowledge is so important. And one of the keys, specific keys in understanding who you are as it relates to getting into partnership with the man is what you value. It's important with career too. But when you're going into a relationship, you want to get clear about what you value. Write it down. Make it plain. Whenever you meet a partner and you're listening to him talk and you're seeing that he doesn't line up with what you've written down about what you value, abort the mission. You're just never going to have peace. You're just never going to be happy in that relationship. Let me give you a clear example. Let's say, for example, you're going through the process of self-knowledge and you do your values work and you discover that you value family and you want to have a big family, holidays, you want a house full of people, the dog is running through, the children are everywhere, and you're happy as a clam. And then you meet a guy, the perfect man, so you think, and during your dating process, which is the process through which you clarify and ferret through and find out if he is the person that you can successfully build a life with, you discover he's a workaholic. You got a conflict. So here's what happens in a lot of cases. He tells you he's a workaholic. He's building a business or he's running an empire, whatever. Oftentimes a woman will start thinking, oh, he's rich, he's got money, da 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 da. Once you get inside the four walls with him, now you've got a conflict because you want a family. He doesn't want a family because he works all the time. You want relatives to come over for Thanksgiving. He's at work. You want to go on vacation. He's at work. That is what he values. And I get it because I'm the same way. And my husband and I have even had conflict about this. I've been on vacation and I have been working and he has been extremely annoyed. Now, luckily for us, we've been together for so long, we can kind of just find our state of equilibrium. Somebody has to lose though. I mean, that's just it in a marriage. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. I always say the trick is to not lose more battles than you win, because you will have a sense of the relationship feeling unfair. It's give and take, and we've learned that. But generally speaking, it depends on how high they are up on the scale of being a workaholic. If it's just kind of like here and here, you probably can manage that. But if it's here, you're going to be miserable in that relationship. And so these are the things that we're missing. Just pass. Once you're clear about who you are, once you're clear about what you want, he'll come to you. You just got to be patient, and you can't settle. Just because someone is a good catch, you have to value yourself enough. You have to trust enough in the spiritual process to understand that Mr. Right, your Mr. Right, is going to come to you. And I'll also say this reluctantly, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you're in a bad relationship, get out of it. I know as Christians, we like to hold on to a marriage until the ship is on fire and burning and sinking, and we are still hanging on. Let it go. You forfeit anything that is good happening to you if you cannot find peace and joy in that relationship. Now, we're not talking about situations where it's just a little disagreement or a little difference. We're talking about when you're in a bad marriage. When you're in a bad marriage and it can't be turned around, you gotta go. you forfeit your blessing, you create future karma. There's so many other things that happen to you spiritually when you are in a bad relationship or a bad marriage. And as women, we start forfeiting our destinies, fooling around with these bad relationships. Cut it, let it go, and start over. To the extent that you get out of it early on, before you've created the karma, before you've kind of got the negative momentum going and the negative vibration about it, by the crying, by the pain, by the suffering, by the talking about it, by the lamenting about it, by running him down to your girlfriends, before all of that happens, get out. Start fresh. Trust that you're going to meet the right person that is for you. You made a mistake. It's a learning process, and just move on. Don't stay there. And I see women doing this 20, 30. I've seen it even 40 years. I'm a little bit older. I've seen it even 50 years. Where they've stayed in a relationship with a person where there was no love there. There was only pain and suffering. And the human spirit is interesting in that it will kind of settle in and adjust. I always say that about the human spirit. It will kind of just, over time, it will just give in. But that's no way to live. You want a life. You want vibrancy. You want potential. And you want to continue on the path of spiritual growth and development, because that is why we're here. And so sometimes when you're in a bad marriage, and you have to really think about it, because for some people, the bad marriage is your springboard to growth. But for some people, you need to just get out of it. And I think the trick is to know who you are. I can't say a blanket prescription for someone that I'm not coaching or speaking to directly, and just have the full story. You need to go, because for some people, you need to stay there and transform the relationship, and it can be done, and I've seen it done. But for a lot of people, you are about to waste your entire life in a bad marriage. And if that is you, you know who you are, you feel who you are, and you need to get out. And so those are the 3 pillars to creating a life that you want. Get them right. Get them right the first time. I blew 2 of them and I had to rebuild. All was not lost, because I learned so much, and that's why I'm here. But if you can get it right the first time, if you can get it right before calamity strikes, you're going to find that you're having a better time on your journey. I hope that helps.